Hello, everyone, and welcome to week number 9 of Introduction to Criminal Investigation. In this week here, we're going to be dealing with some very sensitive subjects, dealing with sex offenses. But before I get started on that, there's a couple of things I want to mention. Starting this week, I'm going to be grading your assignments that come in each week. It's going to be a 10-point grade for your assignment, leading up to 10 different assignments. We'll get a numerical grade. With doing that is to give a little bit more credit to people that are really contributing here. I have most of you have been really, really good on your responses. It shows that you're doing your research. It shows you do your reading. Shows that you're watching the video. But however, I've been starting to get some responses that just need a little bit more care and input from you in doing that. And this here will give a better insight as to what we're going on there. So starting this week here, you'll be getting grades of up to 10 points for that. And there'll be points taken off on late assignments as well in doing those things. So if anybody's had any questions or comments, please feel free to contact me. What we're going to be talking about is a very sensitive subject. It's something that police officers deal with out in the field. It's a very emotional thing. It's something where the victims, people look at when you have sex offenses. Unfortunately, it can happen to anyone at any time, any age, male, female, all those types of things there. And it's a very difficult thing for oftentimes some victims to report because of shame, because of fear of being labeled someone that the person really isn't. You have to have a lot of empathy. You have to have a lot of understanding. You have to realize the courage that it takes for a person to report a sexual assault, particularly if it's someone that's known to them. We know that the majority of sexual assaults, particularly with younger people, is someone that people have known or trusted. We look at the thing that is very, very seldom is it a stranger, oftentimes that's involved. We look at in the context of domestic violence. We look at the context of using drugs and alcohol, all those things there. But it's something that an investigator has to do. In Massachusetts, every police department is required by statute to have a certified sexual assault investigator on their department that's trained. The training is given through the Mass Criminal Justice Training Committee. It's a very intense course. But all officers, as far as policy and procedures, is that when we look at a sexual assault, the first responding officer is one of the most important officers that you can have, because this is when you have the victim, and you have a victim that is in a very, can be in a very emotional state, can be suffering injuries, can be doubting themselves, can be blaming themselves. You have to have a lot of tremendous understanding and empathy. Also, the fact that it has to be very confidential. It has to be the fact that you're going to get your best to get every services that you can have there. So we're going to learn about the first response, about doing that. We're going to learn about policy and procedure. You're going to see some videos that are used in training of officers in doing that. So we're going to look at those types of things there. The other aspect that we're going to look at is the fact that we do have guidelines for all these. We have here in Massachusetts, we have what's known sexual assault law enforcement guidelines. These have been updated. This is the latest in 2017. When we first started doing these, I sat on a couple of the committees that work with these, and now they've really refined the beginning things that we did, and it's very inclusive. These guidelines are very inclusive. We can see the people from law enforcement are in there, but even more importantly, all the people from the academia and the support services, the advocacy services, the different centers that are all around there, and looking at the district attorneys, the state police crime lab, all those things there. So it starts to do this, the guide, which you should read, starts to look at the types of different mass general laws that are there. I've also put another list of the general laws that define the things a little bit differently and more and stuff like that. Looking at the dynamics and victimology. Look at the whole types of situations when you're reporting it and how victims report it, how you're going to document those things. Very important is this section here is that from the very beginning, dispatch can make or break a case. Again, that first responding officer, because of the sensitivity of the crime scene, that first responding officer is so important that he or she secure the scene to make sure that nothing is cross-contaminated. You're dealing with bodily fluids, you're dealing with semen, you're dealing with hair, you're dealing with probably scraping and DNA, all these things here, but you've got to preserve that scene. And you've got to get information from that victim. You've got to be able to document, particularly using statements and quotations. You're going to look at the methods for interviewing the victims, looking at witnesses, looking at the fact that first complaint witness is that the person that the victim first tells about the crime is the one that is going to testify in court. Looking at that, what happens when a child is there? Arrest decisions. We're looking at the evidence collection. We're looking at the fact that when you have a high-profile case, we're looking at situations when we're dealing with human trafficking. I've included a whole section here on human trafficking. It's a crime that hides in plain sight. Human trafficking is more than just sexual assault, but a great deal of it is there. You'll learn from those videos as to what's going on there. We talked about domestic violence in our last class and how that can be end up to a sexual assault, like in the case of Rebel. One unique thing is the aspect of strangulation in sexual assault. We have a special chapter and section here in Massachusetts regarding strangulation, but also regarding if strangulation or sexually assaulting or just assaulting a woman that's pregnant, all those types of things there. Looking at the aftermath of our different rape crisis centers. I've got a video here about BARC, the Boston Area Rape Crisis Center. Wonderful people. I've worked with them for years. How we have our Massachusetts Office of Victims Assistance, all those types of things there. And one particular thing here is what happens in colleges and universities in doing that. And so you're also going to be required to take a look at what's known as the Clery Disclosure Report. This is a 2018 report. All colleges and universities throughout the country through a federal law, what's called the Jean Clery Act. Back in 1986, a young woman by the name of Jean Clery was attending Lehigh University. She was assaulted, raped, and murdered. Her parents wanted to find out what was going on, and they found out that colleges and universities, they weren't as transparent as they should be. So they filed for that act. The act was passed, and it's all also part of Title IX. I think that this is something, if you haven't seen this report that's available through our right on campus here, it's required by law. We can see the different aspects are there. Is that why we have that? We're looking at how and when you report crimes here on campus, these different types of security policies that go on there, particularly with hazings and alcohol and firearms, all those things dealing then. And then there's a whole section on what happens when the sexual assault happens here on campus. You're going to see that sometimes it's going to be handled more differently than in the Massachusetts guidelines, because this is covered by the Clery and Title IX policies on doing those types of things. And then at the end of this report, there's also a disclosure of crime statistics. As I go down along here, they talks about the Clery Act and it's how it's available online. here you can, but you're going to have it, I already have it in your module. The one thing that you might want to look at is the jurisdiction that your campus police have. They have the power of arrest, all those types of things. They have a memorandum of understandings with Salem Police and MBTA Police and the Sheriff's Department, State Police, all those Salem, all those things there. In the reporting type situations, the authority that they have here, and the fact that we under Title IX and all that, we do have a lot of sensitivity and reporting types of things and confidential reporting. We have mandated reportings that happen, and all those types of policies and procedures that go along with that. And so we look at the what's called progressive discipline that can happen here on there, who's going to get what, where it's going to go, looking at the different crime prevention programs, all those types of things there. And then we get down here to the fact when we look at drugs and alcohol, we look at the fact that when people violate it and all that. And then we get down here to hazing, which is something that is in headlines throughout different things that go on there, firearms. And then we look at harassment and then get into the fact that there are certain things with the sexual investigation in the resolution procedures when something happens here on campus, and who handles those types of things. There's a procedure for reporting sexual assaults here, and about criminal charges, about getting restraining orders, no contact orders, dealing with sexual harassment, domestic violence, dating violence, and then actual sexual assault that happens. All these procedures are there, right out there. And then the rights of the people that are reporting and that are being accused in doing all those things there, the appeal process. And then finally down here is that we'll look at the different statistics, and we'll see here when we take a look at rape. There were 5 reported rapes in 2018 on housing and on campus property, both those types of things there. The different types of assaults. We also get into domestic violence situations, dating violence, stalking, all those types of things, and then the arrest. This is all part of that Clery report. So there's some reading there for you to do. There's a writing assignments. I'm looking forward to hearing from you and seeing your responses to that, and looking at the investigative procedures and the comparisons that I'm going to be asking you to do. So I want to have a good week. We're getting into the fact that we're coming down to we're at the halfway point, and looking forward to seeing everything that you have. So take care, and have a good week. Bye.